Hey, before this video starts, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate all the people who watch my channel. I have so much fun and I enjoy making these videos so much, and I'm so glad that people find them helpful and or entertaining, and I just wanted to say thank you guys for the 40 subscribers. I plan on making these videos for as long as people, find them helpful or, fun to watch, and I don't know. To be honest, I didn't even think the channel would ever get to this point. I never thought that I'd have the equipment I needed or anything. And I don't know, just enjoy the video. I love all you guys and gals watching my videos. And that's all I wanted to say before this video starts. I'll let you get to your tutorial now. Adios. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Evan and welcome back to my channel of Vanishing Evan, and today I will be showing you how to download, texture, rig, and sorta animate these Rainbow Six Siege characters. And when I say sorta animate, I mean I'm not gonna go into extreme detail on like how to make it look good, but I'll show you how to get started. But I'm gonna go through that and more in this tutorial, so stay tuned. Now the first step is to pick which operator or operators that you want to download, rig, texture, and there's going to be a link down in the description, down there, and there is going to be a Google Drive where I'm going to be uploading all of these files and such, and you can just download as many as you want to do this with. And once you have it all downloaded and put in a folder where you know where it is, I have mine in a folder called Rainbow Six on my desktop, and all you have to do is go to File, Import, and then OBJ one second right here, and then like I said, I just go to my desktop, and then I have a folder called Rainbow Six where I was keeping the downloads right here. There we go. And then you can see that I have a folder labeled Knock. I like to keep these organized, so I tend to label all my files and such, so I recommend doing that as well. Gonna go in there. Oh, and as a quick side note, when you do first download it, you're just going to have this, like it's not going to be a folder, and you're not going to be able to get into it or use it, and what you have to do is right click on the file that you downloaded and click extract here if you have WinRAR, and if you have 7-zip, which you can just Google and download and stuff, and you can also just hit extract here. If that doesn't, you got this, you're working with Blender, I'm sure that you can figure out how to unzip a file. All you need to do is Google it if you're having any trouble, and then you do that, and then this little folder will appear and it'll have everything you need. But going back into Blender, and I'm just going to finish the importing process by clicking on the OBJ file, and make sure, double check this, that you have you click down on the geometry tab and you click split by group. This will make it so that your model isn't all one piece and that you can actually click on the individual pieces. That way you can texture it properly. And then you may notice that the character model might be a little bit big for your scene, so you're just going to want to press S to scale and then just drag it down to a more manageable size and then zoom back in. Oh, and also, don't forget, you got to delete the default cube, get that sucker out of the way. But now you can see that we have Nox model right here, and I'm going to go into the material view, and you're going to notice that she's going to be all white, no textures at all. And what you have to do is basically you need to go in individually and texture it by hand, and that's what this tutorial is going to show you how to do. Okay, so first you have to go into the shading tab. There we go, and I like to work my way down from the head personally, so I'm going to start with the hood or netting that she has over her face. And first things first, you're gonna, like with this particular model, all of the every material on the body, like it's the same one, so like the arms are using the same texture as the head and vice versa. So you see that if I change the base color for the head, it's gonna change the base color for the whole body right here in this little node. and that's not what we want when we're texturing. I'm just gonna leave it purple, you know, but we don't want the body to have all the same texture, because then it's gonna be impossible to apply the textures. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to where it says default OBJ or whatever it says for you, and we're going to go over here and press this button that says new material. It's right next to the X. Press new material and then rename it to whatever part you have selected. I currently have the hood, headgear, whatever it is, selected, so I'm just going to type in headgear and hit enter. And now we can start the texturing process for this headpiece. And what you need to do is go into your files, and then wherever you have the character folder at, where you downloaded and extracted it, you need to go into it and go find a folder that says textures. And then what you need to do from here is, I like to like, they're all right here, there's a bunch of them, and I like to try and search for the textures, you know. It makes it a little bit easier. So like right now I'm working with the head, so I'm going to type in head and search. And then if you look more closely, I believe that this actual part of the body is called headgear, because if you look closely and you move this, she actually has a head underneath that, which is pretty neat. But back to what we were doing. So now that I know that it's not her actual head and it's her headgear, I'm just going to type in headgear, and then that's going to highlight all the folders in the file called headgear. And then here's another really big part of the tutorial, is that you're going to run into these files that say like headgear underscore diff or whatever. It can be anything, and they're going to look like pieces of paper with the corner folded, and these are unusable in their current state, and they're very important. As you can see here, this says headgear diff, which is diffuse, which is the color map, and without that you're not going to get the right colors for, you know, your model. So what you have to do is you have to open up an application that is also going to be in the description, and it's going to have a GitHub link, I think. What it does, it actually takes these files and decompresses it. I learned about it when I was learning how to texture Call of Duty characters, and I have pulled it up right here. It's called COD Image Util, and it should be like a little application, and when you open up, this is what you're going to see. So you're going to want to go to your applications where the textures are, and right here you take this weird looking file that you can't do anything with in its current state, and you're just going to drag it right in and drop it in. It's going to say processing for a second. It's going to say complete. You're going to click close every time you get done. And then right here you can see that we actually have more textures than we did before, including the headgear diffuse, which is a very important part of the texture, and some other stuff. I don't know what was already here, but it just it decompresses those files so that you can have the textures that you need. And you're just gonna drag it down, and then you're gonna need the diffuse map, which is diff. You're gonna need the normal map, which is a really weird looking light blue, and like some like little blues and pink purples colors, you know. Just gonna drag that down. I'm gonna put that down below the diffuse just to keep things organized. Gonna go back, and then for the last one I'm gonna use the specular. If you know how to apply all these, you can totally go above and beyond and apply like the alpha and stuff as well, but like, I don't know, I don't normally do that. 3 is more than enough. You know, you don't even need to do this many. You can get away with just doing the diffuse map sometimes if you don't want like ultra detail, but I prefer to have a diffuse, normal map, and a specular on my models. So I'm just going to drag the specular in behind everything else. And basically what these do is the diffuse, sometimes it's called the color or the base color texture. What that does is it affects the base color and how your model looks, basically. And then the normal map gives it depth, basically. It'll make light shine on it differently, but it doesn't actually affect the geometry, but it enhances the detail if used right. And then the specular map, what that does is, I believe it affects the roughness and the kind of like the shininess of different areas. To be honest, I actually don't know a whole lot about specular maps. I just know that when you plug it into the specular, it looks great. But now we're just gonna plug all these bad boys in where they need to be. Gonna start with this one, which remember is the diffuse or base color. And oh, one more thing about this specular. If I pull this back up, see how this specular is black and dark blue? Well, in this case, a lot of the rainbow characters have that, but speculars I have found come in like different colors sometimes. So if you're downloading a different kind of model, it might be black and white when you do that, I think. I might be wrong about that. I just feel like I've seen that before. I might be thinking of alpha maps, but I don't know. Don't freak out if your specular isn't dark blue and black. Just plug in the one that says specular, and you should be good. But anyway, moving back. Remember, I have the diffuse map here, the normal map here, and the specular map here. And we're in the shading editor, and we have the head clicked. And we've already made a new texture for the headgear, like specifically. And then the diffuse map is pretty easy. You just gotta plug color into the base color. And bada bing, bada boom, we're already going somewhere. It's looking good already. And then you need to take the normal map, and normal maps take a little bit extra, elbow grease to do. You're gonna want to drag it away from it a little bit so that there's some space, because you're gonna add in another node between the map and the node. You're gonna press Shift A, vector, and then normal map. If I did that a little bit fast, I'll do that one more time so you don't have to rewind. You Shift A, go down to vector, and then go over to normal map. And that's the quickest way to do it, in my opinion. And what you need to do is plug color into color from the normal map node that you dragged in to the normal map node that you just added. And then I like to set the strength to 0.3. I find that gives good results, but whatever you set it to, make sure that it's the same for every part of your character so it has a consistent look to it. And then you're going to plug normal into normal. And bada bing, bada boom, it's going to have a little bit more detail. And some models it's more noticeable than others, but trust me, this will make your renders look that much better in the end. And then finally, we're going to take the specular and plug color into specular. And you're going to notice that it's actually yellow to gray, and that's not normally what you do, but hey, it works with the specular. And now the head is all done, and it's looking fantastic. I'm going to switch over into the Eevee render mode, and oops, I got to add a little bit of light so that you can see a little bit better. Just going to drag that one there, Shift D, drag another light right there. And as you can see, it's looking good. When we render this out, it's going to look fantastic. I'm sure that I'm going to show a clip at the beginning, and you've already seen what the final results are, and it looks pretty cool. Okay, I've switched back to the non-render view because I don't want to, mess with my computer too much while I'm recording a video. Doing this all in one setup, so, one laptop, so don't want to stress it out. But, basically, you're going to apply that same, methodology to the rest of the body. I'll get this one started. Basically, what you're going to want to do is we're clicking on the chest area, the main torso. We're going to, remember, click new material, and we're going to rename it to torso, or jacket, or whatever you want to name it. And then, we're going to drag in the textures for that torso. Oh, and before we get going texturing the rest of the body, one really good tip that I like to do is, remember how I said with the thing that there are these weird paper ones that you have to drag into the COD image util application to unlock the rest of the textures? What I like to do is I like to get that out of the way right off the bat so that you can just get this over and done with, and you can just drag all these in, and it'll just keep on adding textures, and you can just get them all out of the way. And this is what I like to do to get everything all done. And you can see I'm on the legs, diff, and then we just need to do arms. Wait, oh, I did it a little bit too fast. I'm gonna do that again just in case. And you don't have to worry about doing it twice, because if the images are already there, they'll just stay there, and if they're not, it'll just add them in. But there you go. Just gonna do this for all the different broken / compressed textures. And with that, they should be all done, I believe. There we go. Just gonna minimize this, and now we need to find the jacket or torso. In this case, it's called torso, and we're just gonna type in torso, and then all the textures are here. You're gonna drag in diffuse, normal, and specular. Remember to organize them the way that I said earlier. I'm going to do this one a little bit faster. We're just going to get the Shift A vector normal map right out of the way. Drag color into color. We're going to drag normal into normal. We're going to set that to 0.3. We're going to drag color into color for base color. Then we're going to drag color, specular color into specular. And bada bing, bada boom. See how fast I did that? And it's all ready to go. And now I'm going to finish up texturing this character. This could take anywhere between like 5, 7, maybe 10 minutes if you're doing this for the first time. Shouldn't take too long. Some characters are more complicated than others, but I'm just going to fast forward through me finishing up this character real quick. And yeah, I'm going to do that real quick. And also, if I went a little bit too fast on the texturing portions of things, feel free to just double check your work and just keep at it. You'll figure it out. It'll become second nature if you practice enough. Okay, I am just about done texturing this character, but there's a couple little things that I wanted to show you. And first things first is that some textures actually apply to more than one part of the body. Like you can see here with these magazines attached, well, not attached, but in her like tactical vest, you can see that I have it textured and stuff, but it's labeled accessory or ACCE in the textures. So it also, with this radio, I believe that it has the same texture. So what you need to do is not make a new texture and reapply everything and do all that. All you have to do is go down to this little drop down area and find your accessory texture, which you used for another accessory, and just plug it in. And you can do it for all the accessories. A lot of the little like loose stuff on them will usually be an accessory or something like that, and you can get away with doing this a lot, and it's pretty cool. Just gonna do this down here too. Drop down, get accessory right there. And also another example of this is with the feet / boot area. With the legs, I had them fully textured, but I couldn't find any textures for shoes. So what did I do? I just plugged in the pants textures on the feet, and this is what happens. Boom, they're right there, ready to go. And then finally, this is a little issue that I've had with this character, and it's that the texture, she only has one texture for one of her hands. So I'm gonna go into here. I'm gonna make a copy, rename it hand, and then we're just gonna plug in all the materials real quick. And you're gonna see that this is gonna be kind of an issue. 1 second, hand. And then we're going to plug in the color, the normal, and the diffuse. Just going to do this super quickly. And you're going to see that this hand is going to look just fine. One moment. That's the specular. Right here's the normal. We're just going to plug in the normal. Going to Shift A, vector. Oh, clicked a little bit too soon. Shift A, vector, normal map. Plug that in. Right here, color to color. And then normal to normal. 0.3 like I've been doing this whole time. There we go. And the hand's starting to look like a hand. And we're just going to plug in the specular for the cherry on top. Right there. Hand looks fantastic. But in theory, like we did with everything else, we should just be able to go over here and plug in hand. But the texture's backwards, or it's just, I think that we're just missing the is it her right or her left? Her right hand texture. So sometimes with these things, it's not perfect, so you got to come up with your own solutions. And personally, what I do for this, because if you look closely, this is ugly. This is not the way it's supposed to be. There's hideous seams everywhere, and it's just maybe this is what it looks like in game, but I kind of doubt it. It just looks kind of bad. You can see certain areas that like right here, and even if we go into the UV editing, you can just see that it just doesn't line up with the hand at all, So I have to assume that either the UV's messed up or the hand texture is just missing, and all we have is this other hand texture. But the solution for this kind of thing is going back in the shading tab, and what I like to do is just mess around with this node until you get something that is passable. And an easy way to do this is just unplug the base color for this hand glove area, and then just make it a dark gray, and bada bing bada boom, make sure it matches up to the other hand. And there's a little shortcut that you can do, it looks pretty good. It's not great, you know, and it's not like the actual hand of the character. I actually don't know what the actual hand texture of the character is. I just know that that other one looked kind of gross. But, you know, you're going to have to do stuff like this all the time. But since we have a diffuse and a normal that matches the other hand, it's going to look fine, you know, in this case. Sometimes you have to work a little bit harder, like some characters, their jackets or something will be completely wrong colors, and in that case, you can either take the texture, in that case, you can either take the texture into Photoshop or GIMP or whatever photo editing software you have and just do a hue color shift to get the texture just right. This is very useful for making custom, personalizing the look of the characters. You can just take these textures, if you know what you're doing, into a image editing software, and you can change the hue, the stuff. You can add things. You can go right into the texture paint if you select the diffuse. You can just paint right on this, right in Blender. But I don't recommend trying to change the color in Blender. That doesn't usually work super great. But you know, you can put your own personal spin on a lot of these textures if you felt like it. But as you can see, she is all textured, and we've gone over the download step and the texture step. Now, this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to put a little link to part 2, you know, right up on the screen, and that is where I'll show you how to rig and animate. So I'll see you soon. Adios.